Hello, good morning to you, I guess, Sabrina. This
Hi.
is
I'm
Two Lights
sorry.
in the. That's okay. We're not editing.
I'm sorry. I'm on my boat. I'm living on my boat, so things are kind of hectic. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go
We
ahead.
missed you in the screen now.
Oh, jeez, I'm sorry. There you go.
Yeah, that's better. That's better.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Okay. Oh, Alli is going to text in the chat box. So
Perfect.
So welcome. This is Two Lights in the Darkness. At the moment, Ellie has a bad cough, so she'll be talking as less as possible. Our podcast is just talking about people that overcame difficulties in their lives. And our guest today is Sabrina Rose. Hi, Sabrina.
Hi.
We
Thank you so
already
much for
sort of
having me.
introduced you a little bit with the dog on your boat. Um, so tell us, who are you and how did you came at the place that you are now?
Yeah, okay. It's a big question. I'll try to make it make sense because it's a complicated story. My life has been very complicated. And I'm just now kind of figuring it all out. And I'm almost 32. And it all started when I was, excuse me, put into foster care at 5 years old. I was given to a family who would inflict abuse on me for about 12 years, mostly emotional, a lot of gaslighting and brainwashing. And a big part of that brainwashing was in regards to my mother. They told me that she didn't want me. She traded me for a needle. She was nothing but a dirty drug addict. They taught me to hate her, and it worked for quite a
Oh,
while. It
yeah,
worked.
when you're so young.
Yeah, you're so young and confused and trying to make sense of it all. So you look at your rescuer and take their word for it because it's the only explanation you get. So flash forward, 16 years old. I had I'd kept journals about a lot of the abuse that was going on in the home. And part of that was sexual abuse at the hands of my adopted parents' biological son, who was in his late 20s. Started when I was 9, and I started journaling about it at the same age. So I'm 16 years old, and my adopted parents read my journals.
Oh,
And they read about the abuse and they confront me and they tell me it's my fault and they kick me out. So there I am in high school, homeless. So of course I turned to substances. I'm addicted by the time I'm 19. By the time I'm 20, I'm desperately trying to figure out how to stop drinking. But I wasn't ready to admit that I couldn't control it, even though I knew it deep down. Um, and around that same time, so yeah, when I was 19, my biological mother died. Before I was able to get any real answers from her, um, so I really dove into addiction around that time, around 19. It wasn't just drinking anymore. It was also pills and other street drugs. It was basically anything I could get my hands on. I tried getting sober when I was 25. I landed in the psych ward, suicidal tendencies. I was a very rageful person, and usually that was rage that was inflicted to myself, but sometimes other people too. It was always there, and there was never really any rhyme or reason to it. But it would lead to suicidal tendencies. So I wind up in the psych ward. They tell me I have depression, send me home with antidepressants, and I just keep relapsing and relapsing. They figure out that I'm actually bipolar. So I get on the right medications for that, but then I had a really bad relapse when I was 29 years old because I had heard from my adopted parents, who I hadn't talked to in years, that my adopted dad was dying. And I didn't want to have to deal with it. So I tried to drink myself to death so that I could beat him to the grave. and I almost succeeded. I really shouldn't be alive today. I I was in the hospital for about 2 weeks. I could not walk for a few days. I couldn't even stand for a few days,
And all because of drinking.
all because of drinking. I was completely physically addicted. For about 6 months, I drank 24/7. Within 2 weeks, I was definitely physically addicted to alcohol. Um, so I wasn't really eating. I was just drinking and drinking. I kept winding up in the emergency room because I was vomiting blood.
Yeah.
Or I was having psychosis. Um, so I get to the ER and I had a blood alcohol content of 0.465, which is
Oh my.
not
Yeah.
even
That you are alive.
fathomable.
Ellie said in the chat, you're a miracle, but you really are.
Yeah, it is a miracle. And luckily, I didn't ignore that fact. I knew that it was my last chance to get sober when I got out. And so the very first thing I did was I'm like, I got to figure out why I keep relapsing.
Yeah.
So I just kept asking why. I would say I started writing my first book, 30 Dirty and Dying, a week after I got out of the hospital. I had kept journals all through my addiction and I poured over them trying to figure out what it is that is making me relapse because I truly didn't even know why I was drinking or using drugs in the first place. I figured that it was probably because of the sexual abuse and probably because of the emotional abuse and other things for my adopted family. So I put that in my first book. 6 months later, a journalist asks me, "Do you think you drink because your mother was an addict too?" And literally nobody had ever asked me that.
Oh my.
In all of the psych wards, all of it, nobody had ever asked me. So I was like, and it instantly triggered a panic attack, just her mentioning my mother. So I
Yeah.
was like, whoa,
Oh.
something's not right here. There's something unhealed here.
Yeah.
So I went looking into the truth of my mother and why she gave me up to foster care. I looked through DHS files. I looked through our messages. I reached out to everybody I could think of. I just went into full-blown investigation mode for about a month. And what I uncovered was a state-sponsored systematic loop of children being put into foster care in my family and then becoming drug addicts. Over 100 years of this.
What?
All, yeah, oh yeah. Uh, and all on my Native American side.
Oh my
I uncovered
goodness.
all kinds of lies from both my adopted parents and CPS. It shattered everything. It it showed me that I have been living a life on a foundation made of sand, just not
So
even
you had
real.
to really sort of reinvent your whole life.
Yeah, and my self identity.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, I think this is why I was drinking so much
Yeah.
because I've never been able to heal from my mother or grieve her or even express how I feel about her. It's had to be buried for 27 years and it almost killed me. And the other thing that I noticed about my family is these Native American women that foster care that the CPS seems to be targeting, our ages are being cut in half with every generation. My great grandmother died in not in half, but they're going lower.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
great
yeah.
grandmother was in her 70s, grandmother was 63, my mother was 37, and I almost died at 30. To me, it seemed like CPS successfully wiped out a Native American bloodline and a very
Whoa.
a very rare one actually. We're part of the Iroquois Haudenosaunee Nation. There's
Mhm.
95% were wiped out.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
I have been reading about like the women's abductions and killings and but this is a whole different story, yeah?
it is. Yeah.
Like Ellie says in the chat, that gives me the chills.
It threw me for a big loop, I can tell you
Yeah.
that. When I was uncovering this stuff, I couldn't believe it. I was a mess. And when I went into the DHS file to get my file to see what I could find out about my mom, I was blown away at the way they document things, the things they don't document, the things they lied about. They put in my file 5 separate times that I was specifically not Native American. It's a lie.
I just
It's a lie.
you are because you have that side of your family.
That's right.
But
But
why
they
did
didn't
they
want
do
that to be
that?
known.
Just because they wanted you to think that you were like an all white girl, or what's
Well,
this philosophy behind that?
I feel like maybe a part of it is because I think they knew that they had an inkling that maybe I was part of a Native American tribe. But keep in mind, they have been wiping out that name since the beginning of CPS and before that, at least since 1930. They've been separating these kids from the Native American tribe. If you do that over and over again, there's no longer a paper trail to prove that you are Native American because you're being adopted. And CPS likes us to believe that our life begins the day we were adopted. No, it doesn't. Our life begins with our family.
But all the kids that are adopted, were they the same age as you, like five-ish, 4 or 5 year old when they got adopted, or
Um, no, we're all different. Like I think my grandmother was 9. My mother was never actually adopted, but she was in foster care. She was more raised by detention centers, actually, and those were no good either.
yeah,
They, had made her have a forced abortion and didn't give her the tools to succeed by any means. That was at the main youth center. I guess there's been all kinds of corruption there. But so when I was investigating her life, it was like, I'm not just investigating CPS, I'm investigating all systems because they're all failing.
yeah,
They're all broken. And us citizens are left to either pick up the pieces or die.
and they hope that they die because that will wipe out slowly the rest of them.
Yeah. I mean, if we look at the numbers, like 50% of the homeless population was in foster care.
Yeah.
That's
That's
huge.
ridiculous. That's
That's
huge.
huge. And then think of what percentage of that homeless population are addicted to drugs. I would dare say almost all of them.
Yeah.
They just don't give a lot of options for foster kids, once they age out. They just don't care. They have to know that their system is broken. They're just choosing to ignore it because it's a cash cow.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I don't know how to fix it. I don't even know where to start. People have told me to look into like a lawsuit, but I don't know. Because it's all still fresh to me. I didn't even
It's only
started
3 years, right?
a few
Or two.
months.
Yeah, a few months even.
A few months, yeah. So it's all still very fresh and I'm still reeling from it, still trying to let it sink in that this has actually happened to my family. And what can I do to correct it?
Yeah.
On a larger scale. I've always been so self-absorbed and worried about myself, but it's like I feel like I'm at a pretty good place right now. I've been able to tell my story. Now I
Yeah.
want to help other people tell their story too,
Yeah.
somehow, because there's so much power in getting your voice back. So
Yeah.
much. It's so
United, you
liberating.
stand, huh?
Yeah. Like writing my books, it was the most liberating thing I'd ever done because I've always been a very quiet, private person
Yeah.
and very secretive, like most addicts, or like living a double life.
But even when you were an addict, you managed to journal. And
Yeah.
that's amazing.
That I can credit to my adopted parents. They wanted me to journal. It was a rule of the house. I had to journal every day. They wanted me to be like the next Laura Ingalls. They had it in their head that I was going to be famous and I was going to
Well,
take care of them forever.
okay. Well, okay. You might be
Yeah.
famous, but not to take care of them.
No, no, not happening. And I don't hate them. I used to,
Yeah.
I've been working really hard on forgiveness and I think I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Um, and we don't always have to tell people when we do forgive them.
No. No.
So my adopted dad is on his deathbed right now and it kills me. It kills me. I have to battle it every day if I want to call him or go see him before he dies. But if I look back at those journals I kept,
Yeah.
every single time I let my adopted father back in my life, I would try to either kill myself or drink myself to death.
Yeah.
So I can't do it. The guy is just too dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you
And
know,
not even by doing something wrong to you, but just by being there, by being in your life, or or not. I mean,
he's a major trigger,
yeah.
they never wanted to admit to anything that they had ever done wrong. It was never talked after they kicked me out. It was never ever talked again. The sexual abuse. It was buried, and we all just played make believe like everything was okay. And then when I think it was a couple years after my biological mother had died, and I went out to see them, and I brought cake and donuts because it was the anniversary of my adoption. And I walked into their house and I'm like, I'm here to celebrate. And they didn't remember or care.
Oh,
And the rage that I felt in that moment, I don't know if I could have slammed my car door any harder. And I just tore out of there and I never went to go see them again. And they never called me and I never called them. It just
yeah.
fizzled out.
Yeah.
That was the way they wanted it.
Well,
So that tore me apart too. It's hard to walk away from an abuser. It's hard to stay silent
yeah.
forever with them, especially when they were someone who controlled your life.
Yeah. And it's actually great that you say to break the silence, but that's exactly what Ellie said just a bit before. She said,
Yeah.
"What a choice! Break the silence. That's a really big step. Just about the forgiving, and that you wrote the books, broke your silence, and it's great that you're mentioning it now."
It's so important and
Yeah.
it's difficult. I mean, when I published my first book, I think I had like 10 back-to-back anxiety attacks. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm putting all my dirt out there. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe, because I exposed my abusers.
Yeah.
It's like, what if they retaliate, any of them?
Yeah.
But I've what actually happened was my backbone got a lot stronger. My voice got a lot louder. And I've got a whole team of people backing me up because they went through the same thing.
Yeah.
When I wrote my book, Finding Michelle Canoe, the outpour of messages and emails, it honestly just completely blew me away
Yeah.
because I knew I wasn't alone in being an addict, but to see how many former foster kids have experienced almost the exact same thing I did after so many years of feeling alone, it's it's
Wasn't
mind
that,
blowing.
yeah, but wasn't it also a bit overwhelming to see that yes, I'm not alone in this.
Yeah, I felt panicked, scrambled. I'm like, I gotta do something. What can I do? Should I start a lawsuit? Should I write another book with like everybody's stories, like more stories? Start a podcast? I don't know what to do, but one small thing that I did start doing was I organized a charity drive that I call Sabrina Suitcases. And we work so far just in the state of Maine with Maine foster youth, but we're collecting, suitcases
Yeah.
and luggage, backpacks, and providing it to Maine foster youth to prevent CPS from using trash bags to transport kids because they did that with me in the 1990s. And when I published my book and other people said, "Oh God, they did that to me too," or it's still happening, I'm like, how is this still happening? So if CPS doesn't want to do their damn job, I will try to do some of it for them, I guess. Eventually I'd like to take it national, and I think we will.
That's amazing. I'm sure you will, because there must be so much support for something like this.
I was blown away by the support in my community. Within a week, I collected like over 100 suitcases. And they're rolling in all the time. I think we've got like 20 different locations now in Maine and just all
Wow.
kinds of partnerships happening. Like it gives me goosebumps actually
Yeah,
because I wasn't even sure if it was gonna work, but it is. Um, and the support from the community is the best thing for me to see
yeah,
because CPS is just one small piece of the puzzle.
yeah,
They control the law, the rules, whatever, but we control the narrative for these kids because they're going to look at their teachers, their mentors, their friends. How are other people responding to foster care?
yeah,
And when I was in foster care, it was very taboo. We didn't talk about it. You didn't let it be known that you were in foster care because it was a way of branding yourself
yeah,
as bad or different, or people looked down on foster kids.
yeah.
And I can
But
even
that's actually
remember
horrible, right? Why would they look down on you just because you're a foster kid? It's not like it was your choice.
exactly. Honestly, it's just the way society has groomed us to be.
Yeah,
Like this is upsetting to this kid, so don't bring it up. Even though for me, like when I was in foster care, I wanted to talk about it as a kid
yeah,
and make sense of it. I remember going to a teacher and saying, "Hey, this is a book I found on foster care. Can we have a class on this to teach other kids?" And the teacher said, "Sabrina, I understand that you care about foster care, but nobody else really does." And I was like, I just remember feeling like as a kid, like, wow, really? That stuck with me. Nobody
yeah.
else cares.
That's like the ultimate feeling of I'm not loved, I'm not enough.
Yeah. Not to mention, usually, I don't want to say usually, but sometimes the adopted parents will also groom the child to not talk about being a foster kid because they just want it to be seen as like, we are a real family. I'm your real parent. There's no need to bring up the past. But that's not fair. That's the adopted parent's narrative, not the child's.
No.
Like I said earlier, the child's life doesn't begin the day they were adopted. It began the day they were born.
Yeah,
And we need to take that into consideration with these kids.
yeah,
But because, by the time I found my biological mother, I had messaged her on Facebook. We never got to meet up. She died before I was able to do that. But we did exchange some messages when I was 18. And back then, the questions I asked her were so silly, like what color are your eyes, or how tall are you, or like tell me about the
yeah,
day I was born,
yeah,
because I never got that when I was
yeah,
growing up. I didn't get to know what my first word was, or anything like that. And to a kid in foster care, those things are oxygen. It
yeah,
proves that you
yeah,
existed before foster care.
yeah. Yes, no, not silly questions, Ellie says. Not
That's
at all.
right. That's not at all.
But that's so you did get some sort of, well, not closure exactly, but you did get to exchange some words with your mom, and yeah,
A little bit, yeah. She didn't want to tell me everything. I mean, I guess I did kind of hint around at like, why did you use drugs?
yeah,
But she never really explained the whole story to me.
yeah,
And I don't think she thought I was ready for it, and I probably wasn't. But it was about 6 months we exchanged messages. And one day I said to her, "Hey, how are you?" And she didn't reply right away. So to me, as an abandoned kid, waiting for the other shoot, abandoned twice, might I add,
yeah,
when she didn't reply right away, I was like, I can't do this. And I blocked her. And she died very soon after.
yeah,
And oh God, it destroyed me. I went out and stole a bottle of alcohol, which I got caught for and got arrested for. Um, and I just holed myself up in my dorm room and I just drank and drank. And I didn't have anybody to talk to about it. It was like, I don't know. And I have two younger siblings. We were all separated. My younger brother went to one foster home and I went to another.
Yeah.
And he did get to meet up with our mother. When he was 18, he's a year younger than I did, and he got to live with her his last year of high school.
No.
Yeah,
Oh,
but he was the one who was there the day she died, and he saw it.
oh
So
God.
him and I have very different experiences, right? I didn't get the connection back, but he did,
Yeah.
and it really damaged him.
Yeah.
But thank God for him because he was able to fill in a lot of the gaps for me.
Yeah.
And, just, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just looking at the chat to
Yeah, me
see because
too.
yeah, yeah. So Ellie says that's why we need to be there for each other, and that's why, and that is actually why we created Two Lights in the Darkness, so that
Yeah.
people can make their story known, can maybe connect with people that need them or that had a similar experience, or yeah,
Yeah.
we
And
need
I
to
think
bring
that's
some light,
great.
huh?
Yeah. We need more of that out there. That's people talk some crap about technology and stuff, but look at what it's doing for society now. It is completely pulling people together. I
Yeah,
started joining like CPS groups on Facebook or doing podcasts like this.
yeah,
There is support out there, and there are people who will believe you and can help you.
exactly.
So, my one of my biggest tools is social media.
Yeah,
It's my support group. It's got my advocates, the people behind me, support, or just hearing other people's stories because we can't feel alone in this because we're not.
no. So what does the future hold for you?
The future. Oh God, I all I can say is I know I'll be advocating.
Yeah,
Whatever that might look like, I have like crazy dreams of like buying a van and just traveling around the state and just or traveling around the country, and just spreading the word and spreading advocacy and starting up more Sabrina suitcases across the states. I just, I want to be able to travel and see more of the
yeah,
world,
yeah,
connect with different types of people, and write more books for sure.
yeah.
Definitely write
There's
more books.
from what I'm hearing, there's so much in you that needs to be told.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just what I do. I've always been a writer.
Yeah,
I always wanted to be a writer, and for a while that was just a pipe dream because I was drinking so much. I mean, I have my journals, but if you read 30 Dirty and Dying, you'll see
yeah,
how the writing has changed,
yeah.
since getting sober. It's a very different mindset. And I still journal every day. And who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe that will be a book again one day too.
It is actually important to journal every day, to just write all the things that you experience, just write it up and just yeah. Ellie, I'm an author too. I wonder if that's the same with all who have experienced trauma.
I think that a
Maybe.
lot of people who have experienced trauma definitely try to find an artistic way to demonstrate it for sure.
Yeah,
Like not even just writing, maybe, but like music, acting,
yeah,
even social media. I don't know, something creative,
yeah,
just to be able to get that message out because it's an important message. And if you're a survivor, like you say, Allie, we have to break the silence. And when we do it, we want it to be impactful and
yeah,
we want people to notice it. Writing books is a great way to do it. I really urge people, like, if you are a recovering addict, write down your story. Just start at the beginning to end, and see where the gaps are, see where the whys are. What, just keep asking why over and over and over until you get to the very heart of your addiction. That's what I had to do. And it led me right to my mom.
Yeah.
And now that I've found her, or found her ashes, I should say, I feel pretty damn strong in my sobriety.
Yeah.
You know, I've got
Yeah.
a core sense of self. There's always going to be moments where like I might flicker back to, geez, it might be nice to have a beer out on the deck, or but I can squash that immediately now. Like what are you talking about? That's just
Beer,
the devil
no.
on the shoulder. Kick that off.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. I love your story, really. It's
Thank you.
it's it's horrible, heartbreaking, but the way that you pulled yourself out of it, yeah, really
Yeah,
amazing.
I couldn't have done it without a higher power. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
There was a moment in my detox where I felt like I couldn't even go on anymore. I was screaming, crying to the sky like, why are you punishing me like this? What do you want from me? Why do I deserve this? I was terrified I was going to die and I wasn't ready for it. Excuse me. And I feel like I heard a voice, whether it be God or some sort of creator, telling me that I needed to write a book,
Yeah.
that I needed to get sober. This was my final chance. If I relapsed, I would die. And actually, that was parroted by a doctor anyway. So even if you don't believe in God or a creator, a doctor still told me that, like if you relapse again, you'll die. So as a 30-year-old woman, it's like, this is serious. This is way more serious than I realized. And I thought I wanted to drink myself to death, but it is a painful, painful death.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to die that way, and
No.
nobody should.
No. No, true. True. But you're here.
I'm here.
You're
Here
alive
and
and
determined.
kicking.
Here and determined. And I'm going to make the best use of this second chance that I've been given
Yeah,
because I know how lucky I am.
that's
And
beautiful.
to waste it would be a disservice to God and to my mother. My little brother, he also suffers from alcoholism.
Yeah.
But he got sober on our mother's birthday in March. So he's a little over a month now sober. But,
Nice.
we've got each other now,
Yeah.
we just got reunited for the first time in 27 years, like last month.
Wow. Wow. That is
Yeah,
amazing.
it was amazing.
Did you still recognize each other?
Oh, of course. Like, yeah. So we found each other on Facebook like when we were 18 because we're pretty much the same age.
Yeah.
And like we would message back and forth sometimes, but I was very hateful towards our mother. So if he messaged me talking about our mom, like I miss her, or God, it was hard to see her die, or anything he'd say about her, I would say, shut up, Jake. Like, she is a drug addict. Who cares? Like, you shouldn't even miss her, nor should you love her. And he'd listen to me.
Oh,
And I'd be like, the only way to survive this life, Jake, is to have another drink. And he would. So
yeah.
we never met up because we both were just a mess, It just never worked out. But we were able to this year. And geez, I mean, if little kid Sabrina could see that moment, she'd be really actually pissed off that it took this long.
Yeah.
I'm so,
Yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry.
No, no, no.
She'd be
That's
mad.
okay.
She'd be very mad that it had taken this long. But geez,
Yeah.
I mean, at least it's happened at all.
Yeah.
CPS promised us that we would have regular visits. I found it in our file, and it never happened.
So they did promise you could see each other and then, oh
Yeah,
God.
it didn't happen. I don't know exactly why. I feel like it was because of my adopted parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty
if they
sure.
wanted you to if they wanted you to keep silent about the whole foster thing, then seeing your brother would just ignite it again. And if you
Yeah,
don't see him, then it's Yeah, you may even forget that you're a foster child. Not that
Yeah.
that you ever can forget, I can imagine, but still,
Yeah, you never really forget. I mean, you learn to live with it. You can
yeah,
suppress it. You can play pretend, but playing pretend is what fuels addiction. Wearing a mask
yeah,
or just not being your true self, not having a core sense of identity, that might be the biggest contribution to addiction that I can think of.
yeah, yeah. Things align when they are meant to.
It's true.
True.
It's
Yeah,
true. You know,
absolutely.
we just have to trust the process, trust
Yeah.
the plan.
Yeah, that's sometimes hard to do, huh?
Very, yeah, very.
Yeah. So if people want to connect with you or see the work that you do, where can they find you? On social
Well,
media, I guess, but
oh yeah, you can find me pretty much anywhere. Just, if you type, just Google Sabrina Illustrated, you'll find like all kinds of links. But I've got, my Facebook where I talk a lot about CPS corruption and just exposing that type of thing. And
yeah,
I talk a lot about my substance use recovery, etc. So that's under my profile, Sabrina Rose. I also have a website that kind of keeps everything a little up to date. That's at sabrinaillustrated.com. And Sabrina Illustrated is also my Instagram handle. It's my TikTok handle, threads. Um, or you can email me at Gmail, Sabrina Illustrated at Gmail.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, all those ways.
Cool, cool.
Yeah.
So, people out there, if you see this and you want to connect with Sabrina, you know where to go now. Is
Yes.
there any last words that you want to give to the audience or
Just thank you for having me. And to anybody listening who was a former foster kid and you don't know where to start into finding out your truth, please send me an email or a message. I do try to help everybody who pops into my inbox and helping you figure out how to get your files because it's not easy to do always. But, I'm just one person, but I've dedicated my life to this, So if you need assistance, if you even just need an ear to listen, I'm here.
yeah,
So thank you for bringing me on the show and just helping me connect with more people because that's what this is about is connecting with people and spreading
exactly.
the message of hope and
Yeah,
spreading the message of breaking the silence.
yeah. Let's do that.
Let's do it.
Yeah, with that, I want to wrap up this podcast and hope to see all of you next time again. Thank you again, Sabrina. It was really nice talking to you. Amazing.
Same to you.
Um, yeah, and then we'll be seeing you.
Okay.
Thanks
Thank
so
you so
much.
much. God bless. Bye, Alli.